Hello YouTube, it's your boy Nathan coming to you to do another recap video. Today we're talking 90 Day Fiancé Season 11 Episode 19, Tell All Part 1. So we're just going to get on to it. Part 1 was alright. I mean, all the hype is going to be all for Part 2. I mean, there was a couple little things here and there, but let's just get started. So it's the tell all. So everybody's arriving. Shekinah arrives separate from Sarper. Imagine that and everything. Jessica and Juan arrive. Sean and Aaliyah arrive. Greg and Jonah arrive. Mark and Mina arrive. And Matt and Amini arrive. So everybody arrives. Stevie and Maddie arrives. Everybody arrives getting ready. Sarper and Shekinah are just not doing good right now at all. Not surprised. Everybody gets into the studio and gets ready and stuff. We've seen Sarper meet up with Greg and Maddie, and he wanted to give them some advice to say, like, give them some tell-all advice to say, start out with a compliment, then give an insult. And he referred to Greg like you're so cute, but you're sweating so much. And Greg was sweating. He's a big guy. He was sweating. And what Greg decides to do, he goes into his dressing room and gets like a blow dryer and tries to blow off that sweat off of his shirt, which was disgusting, I felt like, but whatever. So everybody arrives and gets ready and everything. Now, Amini and Shekinah. Now, I predicted this. I finally had a prediction that come true. I had said a couple weeks ago in a tell-all prediction that Amini and Shekinah would get into it, and I was right. So apparently, I guess Shekinah was talking, I believe it was to Jessica. Yeah, I think it was Jessica she was talking to, and say that Amini had reached out to Shekinah and said that, you're amazing, I like you and all that, but I apologize in advance on some of the things I'm going to say to you at the tell-all. And Shekinah thought that was pretty rude and that you're just going to be ignorant to her, like you're planning to be ignorant to her and everything. So they had some choice words about that. Amini had gotten some surgeries done. She got a BBL, she got her nose done and everything. We'll talk more about that later. And she kind of had like another surgery done too to make herself look a little bit more natural and everything. So they get the set, Sean comes out and says hi to all the couples. And, Matt and Amini and Shekinah had some choice words again and everything. Shekinah called Amini calculated and everything and all that. It was just a bunch of BS and everything. And then it just turned into just shut up and everything, whatever. So we introduced everybody, and then we kicked off the tell-all with Sarper and Shekinah. So Sarper and Shekinah, they showed their little wedding from last week, and they mentioned that they're neither one of them are doing well. Sarper doesn't like responsibility. Like when Shekinah tells him to take out the trash or something and everything, like Sarper likes to be in control of everything, and he feeling like he can't be in control. Shekinah says that, like ever since he moved in, it's felt like, it's not our house. And she just feels like, yeah, I will admit it's like her house and everything. And Sarper is battling depression and everything and all that stuff and whatever. They showed a video of on Christmas because Sarper and Shekinah got married on 11/11/2024. And they showed a Christmas, and then on Christmas they got into a fight, and Sarper left the house. He even left his little air tag at home and everything, and everything. So, it's just typical Sarper and Shekinah like drama and stuff and everything. So they bring out Shekinah's friend, ex-boyfriend Dan. And Sean had asked Dan about the betting ceremony. And he didn't hold back. He was like, that was cheap. And everything. And then like Dan just started going on like, Shekinah, why don't you go out with me to lunch anymore? We can't go out to lunch anymore. He was like whining about like her, not her wanting to go to March, and everybody was like, dude, she can't go to lunch with you anymore. She's married. She has to tend to her husband. She's like, yeah, but we're all friends and everything. Like we're respectful and all that. I'm like, it may as well be true, but like you can't just plan lunch all the time with your friends like that when you're married, especially when you're newlywed married and your marriage is already on the rocks at the beginning. You know, it's not safe. You know, Sarper don't even like Dan in any way. And so that Dan was just going on and on about how like, you know, like I still don't know who to believe in this in the Shekinah and Dan thing. Like, did they hook up or not? Shekinah says like that they didn't hook up while they were dating, but Dan says they did more than just kiss. And Shekinah says that's not true. So I still don't know who to really believe with that and everything, because, you know, Shekinah can be a little bit exaggerated a little bit, but Dan is clearly still into Shekinah. He could say that he ain't, but he still is and all that. And so, like, but I will say that Dan made a really good point. He said that, like, a fight doesn't mean a flight back home to your country. Because every time Sarper and Shekinah get into a fight, Sarper wants to go back home. And that was actually a good point that Dan made. A fight doesn't mean a flight. And that is true. So, you know, that was a good point. Shekinah even said, like, that's a good point. Like they need to like really work out their differences and stuff. So they say goodbye to Dan and everything, and then they take a little break. Shekinah goes backstage and just starts crying and everything, and then her and Sarper get into it a bit, and Sarper's like yelling at her like, you will lose me, and everything, like you crying so much and everything, like, and Shekinah like, I'm expressing my feelings to you, you can't handle it, you're mad at me for expressing my feelings and stuff, and I'm just like, oh my god. I can't with them too. I really can't. They're going to be on the last resort, by the way. So, so yeah, that's whatever. So yeah, that was Supper and Shekinah. The next couple I want to talk they went to is Stevie and Maddie. So Stevie and Maddie, you know, they're still in Mississippi and stuff and everything. They're doing a little bit better. I don't like to get political here, but we all remember, you know, that Maddie is from Iran and everything, and the tensions between the United States and Iran is not good. And just over the weekend, we sent missiles and to their nuclear areas and stuff. And Maddie is like really like on social media, Maddie is really concerned for his country right now and everything, concerned for his family. Last update, we heard that his family's okay, but he hasn't heard from his family in a couple of days. So we're praying for his family and everything, doing all of this. So with Stevie and Maddie, like when Stevie got to the tell-all, she's like, I'm so tired of the questions about my sexuality and stuff and everything, whatever. They bring out Veronica, you know, like I said, they're bringing out a couple former 90-day OGs to talk to everybody. They brought out Veronica, and Veronica actually said something Parisian because she's actually dating a Parisian man and everything. So she had that connection with Maddie and everything. And Veronica had told Stevie, like, you know, like there was a scene in the beginning of the season where like Maddie was calling his family so much, and Stevie told him to like back off with that. And Veronica told Stevie, girl, never come between a man and his mom. And she was like, trust me, I know. And now it's getting to the point where I do have to remind him to call his family and everything. So they also bring out Saeed, Maddie's friend Saeed. And Saeed, he's just terrible. I mean, he's just way too involved in everything. He came in, apparently he had asked Maddie if he wanted to come live with him in California and everything. And he was mad that he didn't come and everything. And everybody was like, well, he wanted a new home and stuff. And everybody was like, his home is with Stevie in Mississippi, like. and everything. He has to be with his wife and everything. And so they just like went on and on and on and back and forth about that and stuff and everything. And I'm just like, I mean, why is this dude just like so like involved in that, like, you know, like, but I guess Maddie didn't tell Stevie about that conversation, and she's like, he told you to do that, you didn't tell me, and you still talking to him. Like, Stevie doesn't really like Saeed, and I can see why. I'm on her side with that. He just, I don't know. So then Sean had asked Stevie, okay, then the $1 million question: are you bisexual, or have you kissed a girl and everything? Stevie is still not answering the freaking question. Now, she claiming she did, like, you know, she's saying, I choose you and only you. No. And like, why aren't you like not answering like that question? She's like, I don't owe him anything about my sexuality or everything and stuff. And Veronica's like, well, he does have a right to know, and it's about honesty and stuff and everything. And like, even like Joan had asked Stevie, like, are you really that into boobs and stuff and everything? Like, you have, and like, I'm not hating, just there's just a lot there and stuff and everything. So Stevie, when asked if Stevie kissed a girl, and she's like, I don't kiss and tell. She's clearly, and she even asked, like, if he was to find out, will it make a difference now? And Maddie's like, I can't answer that right now. So she thinking that's going to jeopardize the marriage and stuff and everything. And I'm just like, why can't you just answer the question? Someone even asked her on Instagram when she does her little Q&A, why don't you just answer the question? And she just gives like a vague response and everything about it. And I think at this point now, like, I was trying to give her the benefit of the doubt, but I think she probably is, and just not going to say it because she knows where she comes from, basically. So she didn't answer the question. So Sean asked the other women in the studio, besides the many, have y'all kissed a girl? Joan and Mina said no, that they never will. Shekinah said she's done more than just kiss with a girl. Okay. Aaliyah has never been with a girl. Imagine that. But Jessica said that she's kissed girls all the time, including her friend Megan, in drunk settings, and Juan don't care about it. Juan doesn't care and everything. So yeah, everybody else has answered the question, but she didn't. So at the end, they really didn't get nowhere with the conversation, basically. So they just ended it. They said goodbye to Veronica and Saeed and everything, and went on about their way. But I mean, Stevie and Maddie did say, like, for the most part, things are going well in their marriage right now and everything. Maddie did say that he got his green card and he's working as a personal trainer, and that's like, he does have female clients that are set up by Stevie and stuff and everything. So like, kudos to Maddie for, getting for finally working and stuff and everything. Because they asked him, like, was it worth it to push up the wedding? Realistically, no, but hey, he did get his paperwork, so yeah. So that was Stevie and Maddie. Next couple they went to was Greg and Joan. Now, this was crazy. The question, $1 million question, is Greg still living with Mama Lucille? And the answer is yes. As soon as he said yes, they decide to bring out Big Ed. So they bring out Big Ed. Big Ed comes out and he says he likes Greg and Joan, but he told Joan that you need to give this gentleman a 90-day notice, put a roof on your head. Like, you guys are married and you guys are like, need your own space and everything. And and Joan's like, I agree and everything. Greg was like, at first he's like, that's BS, but then he said he was joking and everything. Then they bring out Mama Lucille and they talk about like all the things that would happen, like the privacy things that are going on in the house and everything. Like how he wants to like I guess Greg is still working like 14 hours a day, which is good and everything. And like, but they're still like trying to save for like something and everything. Now, here's the thing though. This is where things got a little tensed up. Obviously Joan and Greg are married, and of course they're intimate without protection. Mama Lucille doesn't really want them to get pregnant in the house. Like she said that as much as she wants another grandchild or whatever, she doesn't want to like raise a grandchild in the house and everything, which is understandable and everything because that's a little bit too much for somebody her age and everything. And so like they asked them are they using protection, and Joan was like, no, why would we? We're married. And I see that point, but Eric was like, well, you need to be careful. You don't want to get pregnant in the house. And they showed the scene when Joan had told Mama Lucille that she needs to leave her own house out, leave her own house more and everything. And everybody's just like, that's her house. Who are you to come in and just say that she needs to leave her own house and everything? Like that is really disrespectful. And so like, like everyone's saying, like, you can't be getting pregnant in her house. And Joan was like, well, who's going to stop me? Nobody's going to stop me for like having a child. I mean, everyone's like, yeah, but you can't be doing it in her house. Like, this is her house and everything. And she's like, well, we're married, so who's going to stop me? And like, you guys need your own place. And like, and Joan's like, I trust that Greg will get me an own place. I'm not going to get pregnant in her house, but I do trust that Greg is going to get me in her own place and everything. And so like everybody was just thinking like, Joan was really rude, which I think she was. I understand her frustration, but her delivery really came off as really rude. Is that she was really like saying, ain't nothing going to stop me. I don't care and everything. Like, Joan, like, this woman let you move in here from Uganda, rent free, by the way, and everything. Let you stay in her house and help you on the way. You don't be disrespecting that and everything. I understand it could be a cultural thing or whatever, but it is really disrespectful how she portrayed that. And then Shekinah even stepped in and was like, that is disrespectful. You just said that you don't care and everything. She's like, and everything. So her and Shekinah started going on, and Joan's like, you need to calm yourself. And Shekinah's like, I'm calm and everything. Now Shekinah just needs to stay out of it. Like, I'm tired of Shekinah tell-alls. Like, she just needs to stay the heck out of it, basically. And I'll get to more on her again in a moment. So, Greg and Joan, so Greg, he said that, there were some like like the mom like gave like suggestions about there are some like trailer park areas that they can go to and everything that they can afford to have like a little starting point basically before they get a better place and stuff or whatever. And I'm just thinking, okay, that sounds fine and all that, but with Joan being from Uganda, she don't really understand that lifestyle, but I don't know. Me personally, and this is just me, and I'm not knocking anybody who does, but me personally want to live in a trailer park. I mean, like, there's, like, again, I'm not, if you live in a trailer park, I'm not knocking it. I'm not saying anything bad about it. It's just like, just my personal preference. I wouldn't want to live in a trailer park. They are nice homes and stuff, but I don't know. There's just a lot to it. So Big Ed and Lucille say goodbye, and before they say goodbye, they made some little snarky comments about them possibly getting together and everything, and like. Because Sean had asked Big Ed, are you single? And he was like, yep. And Mama Lucille's single too. It's like, oh, hey, and everything. So then they started making jokes like, Greg, like, I'm going to take your mom out. And if you don't move out, I could be moving in. And if you don't want to see me naked, he was like, I already have. Like, I already have, dang. Like, you might want to move out. Everyone's like, okay, we may want to have to move out really quick. Because Big Ed's moving in. So Lucille and Ed leave, and they're like, oh, let's go get some coffee. Let's go get some lunch. And then Ed just starts touching her rear end, and then she starts touching his rear end. I'm like, oh my God. But you know what? You know what? I would, that would be a cool, I think they would make a good couple. I think Ed needs somebody like Lucille. They're around the same age and everything. So, let it work out. And maybe that will be Greg's motivation to get Joan out of that house and find a new place and stuff and everything. So I thought that was funny. So yeah, so after Greg and Joan, the next couple they talked to, after a little break, they talked to Matt and Minnie and Annie, the throuple. Now, last we saw them, now everything was deceiving when we saw them last week. Last week they had that big argument prior to the airport, and everyone was just under the assumption that they broke up. And Minnie said that they never really broke up, but they did go like a couple weeks without talking to each other, basically. Apparently, but they claim that they are still together, all three of them, and that because from the filming of when they filmed and then up to now, they said that they spent Thanksgiving together, Christmas together, New Year's together, or whatever, and brought the kids down. Shauna asked, how do you explain all this to the kids? And Minnie said it's just all love and love, basically. Now, Matt had said that, I wanted to give, Minnie, this lifestyle, this, live the gay lifestyle that she, wanted and everything. And that's, basically how this all got started, basically, and everything. So, the main question is that, well, throughout the season, it just seems like there's been more of a connection between Matt and Ani instead of Minnie and Ani. Well, we remember at the beginning of the season, and when they first got to Mexico, when Matt and Ani had sex without Amini, because Amini was too tired and stuff and everything. And so, and that pissed off Amini and stuff and everything. Amini claims now that that's even more developed. She's saying that Matt and Ani have been spending a lot of quality time together, which I don't mind. I'm glad that they are, but it's a lot of times it's been without me. Matt's even gone to see Ani without me because I have to work, because I'm really invested in my work and everything that I do and stuff and everything. And then, and this was no surprise when this came up, Minnie and Ani have not had sex, just the two of them. It's either been just Matt and Ani or the three of them in a threesome. But it's never been just Amani and Ani. Not surprised there. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised by that. Because I throughout the season, I had an inkling that was the case, basically. So yeah, that was a shock and everything. So they asked Annie, why is that? She was like, I want to be with Amini and stuff and everything. People think I'm so inclined with Matt and everything, but I do want to be with Amini, more and everything. It's just that she's always busy or always angry or stuff like that and everything. And it's just it's challenging for her. So then they talked about all the surgeries that Amini has gotten and her nose done and everything. She claimed that Matt and Ani had told her that she was looking less attractive, that she didn't have a rear end much anymore and everything. And Matt said that it was interpreted the wrong way. She was saying hey, you're looking a little extra skinny. Maybe we need to do something about it and everything. So she got all them. They recommended they didn't say go get surgeries, but she said that she wouldn't anyway. Annie said that she respects her decision about going to get surgeries, but she didn't like it because she thought it was crazy. She's beautiful the way she is, basically, and everything. So then we circle back to the tension with Amini and Shekinah. And Shekinah, apparently, and this is where I lost way more respect to Shekinah and everything. Apparently, in that DM exchange, Shekinah had asked if Ani was trans. And I'm like, where in the world did that come from? I never thought in a million years that, like, some people you can with some trans women you can tell, but I did not think at all that Ani was trans. She did not look trans to me, and she has kids. Like, she has biological kids. Like, I know that probably doesn't matter, but like, with all everything that was done to them and stuff and everything. And obviously, Minnie thought that was rude and everything, and just told her to shut the F up, basically. And I'm just like, why would she kind of ask that? And then like they're talking about, oh, you don't like trans, and she's like, I do like trans and everything. And then you got Aaliyah over there, just like what like what is going on here? Like, they're talking about trans and possibly some like transphobic things going on and everything. And I'm like, y'all, hello, we got a trans woman sitting right there. Like, y'all need to watch what you say right now and everything. And we basically left off with a cliffhanger on that. Like, I can't with Shekinah. I'm so tired of her and Sarper. And I'm sorry I gave them the benefit of the doubt throughout the season, how they were starting to grow on me. They're back to their old ways. They're just too, I don't know. I know they're still together. I just saw them on like an ET interview or whatever. They're still together, having their ups and downs, but I don't know. But yeah, that was part one of the tell-all. So we left with the cliffhanger on that. So all the juicy stuff will come next week. We'll continue the conversation with the throuple. Then they'll talk to Jessica and Juan, and then bring out Megan and stuff. Mark and Mina were really quiet. They'll do Mark and Mina. I guess they did mention that Jordan will join the conversation. And then we're going to have the showdown between Danielle and Shekinah. We'll have that showdown, and Danielle and Maddie and everything. They're getting up in the faces and stuff. So I can't wait to see that next week. So yeah, guys. Yeah, that was an interesting part one of the tell-all. So yeah, but yeah, I'm over with Shekinah. I'm sorry. I'm done with Shekinah. But anyway, guys, that is the end of my review. I'll be back on tomorrow to recap 90 Day Hunt for Love, so continue to watch that. And then, like, in a few weeks, and I'm going to wait a few weeks after the season, like a week or two into Happily Ever After, before we have the big interview with Matt and Minnie. So anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see y'all again tomorrow. Bye, y'all.